Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. I got the camera up here close so you can see good, and I got the light up here so we can see underneath this rail where all the shrouds are at. And I've pre-installed this wire into the back of the gun port door. We put a little glue on the bottom of the hinges and the base of the door, and this will be one of the last hard ones because I'm up underneath the edge of this plate, and getting this in here is a little tough. I did find that drilling the holes a little higher than I was drilling them makes a whole difference in the world. And then leaving the glue back away from the end of the wire so I can see the wire and get it started in the opening of the hole. And you can see I tapped on the back of my pliers I was holding that wire with to get it to poke through there, because the hole is a 1/2 millimeter and so is the wire, so it's a little tight. And there is enough room on this one to get between those braces that hold the bottom of the shroud and the dead eyes. Now I got to push it in. Yeah, what I thought. I pushed the wire too hard because I didn't drill all the way through these plates, but I did push the wire in too hard and poked it through there. So I'm going to see if I can push it in with this. Yeah, that'll work. Get it in where the depth is about right. Get a grip on it so I can set them hinges up on the edge of the door of the gun port opening. And instead of messing with that wire, I'm just going to cut it off and touch it up with some paint later on. So that one wasn't too bad. A couple of these other ones I really struggled with for a while. So now let's back up a little bit. And show you how I prep these. These are ones down here a lot easier when they're in the open. As you can see the holes, and you got room to work. I do have them all drilled out, and of course that was a laborious process without poking through. I'm just getting a good grip near the bottom of the wire. And I've got a hole pre-drilled in there. So I want a glob of glue, E8000 on that. And just hope, yes, I felt it go in. So once I feel it go in, I'm not going to push anymore, because it's easy to push through. This wood is not real hard. And I want to pre-bend these hinges almost 90 degrees. Now I want to get a grip on the end of that, or near the end, where it's not going to bend when I push it into the hole. And put another blob of glue away from the end a little bit. Should be enough. Now get that glue in the camera so I can see here. Turn you guys a little bit more. It's hard to get the right adjustment on this camera. Still get good light in there where you can see. There. Enough force to push the wire through the opening of the hole I drilled, but not enough to bend the wire, because it's easy to bend it, and then you got to start all over. This one is a little too high, so I'm going to bend the wire down some at the right amount of insertion. Oh, I didn't put the glue on the bottom of this yet. Try to do that ahead of time. Yeah, it's easy to get that wire in there too far, and then you're in trouble, because you pull it right out of the back of that door. And I need to bend it down a little bit. Not enough. There we go. Then I can push it back in a little bit. And the main thing is to make sure it's plumb and straight, so it looks good when you look at it from the front. A little glue hair there. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 to go on this side. We had 31 altogether on this side, and we're done all the way from the port front of the boat back here to the rear. We got to work on this. A little crooked there. It's because that hole isn't in the center of the opening right. And grab another one. So these aren't going too bad. Almost 90 degrees. You want to go just a little bit less to account for this angle that we're setting at. And the wire, I'm cutting off a length more than I need, obviously, so we got play going in and out of that hole in the side of the ship there. Get a good grip on that wire. And then to complicate it, you're going to put glue on the end where you can't see the tip of your wire and try to find the hole that you drilled in the, and then stick it in the opening of that hole. Making sure there's enough glue to get a bond there. You can twist it around sometimes. And the wire's got a little arc on it from coming out of the stock roll. I can use that arc to my advantage. Bend it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to get a grip on it so I can push it into the side of the ship. Add some glue on the wire. And a nice glob on the base of the hinge. And get where you can see it. In my upper hole, I can just see the opening of the hole. Sort of force and went and push and wiggle. Wipe the glue off my pliers. Get that in to where it's close to the same as the other ones. And then this black pair of tweezers helps me do the final placement. And looking straight on there, you can see it's leaning to the left a little bit. So try to tweak it some. Get it as straight as possible. I'm going to pull it out a little bit to give it a little more realism. Okay, so that's the process of installing gunport doors. I did have a problem with a couple of them, but most of them are going pretty easy like that you just saw. Problems are the hinge would break loose from the back of the door. You couldn't get your wire in the hole. The wire would bend. Stuff like up here would be in the way. So once you get a system down, you get your hole about the right distance away from the opening. You can see some of these I've gone back and drilled another hole a little bit higher because I found that the higher the hole is, the easier the install. Some of these over here, the hole is actually in the rail, so I could get it in there and fighting that opening limitations without hurting anything in there. So I'm going to plug away on the rest of these, get this our port side done today. Chickens are announcing they just laid some eggs. So we got all 31 of them done on the port side. I'm looking at getting a new microphone for this camera, or a different microphone. The one that's on here is inside of this camera case, where sometimes it's really good at picking up sound and other times it's got some static to it. Something I want to show you guys before we go on here today. These are all, well, the blue and the purple or whatever that is in there are probably a smaller or a bigger size than the 0.5 millimeters. But all the green ones are 0.5 millimeters. That's how many drill bits I busted over the last couple of years doing these ships. And all of them weren't on this ship. Thing was about half full of what's here now. Yeah, that looks like a little smaller maybe. Because I did have a couple sets that were different sizes. I can't read it, but it's definitely looks a little smaller than a half millimeter. That's probably 0.3 millimeters. But it busted off halfway down the shaft, so I can still use it for poking and stuff, but I can't really drill good holes with it. That's what you're in for if you're going to drill holes in something like this. You got to have some micro drill bits, nano bits. So, good progress this week. Working on doing Christmas lights and stuff in the yard, in the house. My wife's got a craft show at the Snow Fest tomorrow night, Saturday night, downtown Lakeland. Hoorah, hoorah. She's got her own YouTube channel, Jamiesartsalacartes. I thought I had a business card here. I'll have to see if I can leave a link to her channel. And one of the main reasons I'm mentioning that is because she's been busy putting out videos, sometimes more than one a week, but she's been pretty consistent for the last couple years, and she's got quite a variety of crafts and stuff that she makes and films using the Cricut, which is a machine that cuts vinyl and you can stick it on things. And she does paint pours, she does paintings, and sells paint kits. She does wreaths, she does cards, trivets. The list just goes on and on and on and on. There's probably at least 20 or 30 different crafts that she films and puts out there on YouTube, so if anybody's interested. And the latest thing that she's working on is the laser, which I've showed in a few previous videos. So she'll be doing some stuff with that soon. But for this week, and Christmas coming soon, and all the things you gotta do for family and those coming to visit. I do have most of the stuff out of here. This place was packed full of stuff. Got some wreaths to put up, stuff like that. Let's go see what them chickens are clucking about. when Henny Penny lays an egg, that black and white spotted one, she usually makes a big ruckus and then sits there on the nest, don't you? Yeah, what's under there? Nothing. What's that mean? Oh, sometimes other chickens will lay an egg in the nest, and Henny Penny will come in there and kick it out on the ground. I don't see any on the ground. What you doing all that clucking about? Just because this Rhode Island Red got up on the... Oh my gosh. No, you might be the one making that ruckus. Are you? Yeah. You could be a rooster. Good grief. Might be her doing that. I thought it was Henny Penny. We gave him some leftover pancakes and mash this morning. So let's peek in the greenhouse or the winter garden. Of course, winter, Christmas time, you gotta have poinsettias, mint, some of this parsley and oregano and some other goodies, lettuce. I know she planted a bunch of garlic. That'll come up in a few months probably, or weeks. Rosemary, thyme, oregano, and more lettuce and chard and cabbage. These are microgreens for the chickens. As they grow up and get bigger, we'll cut them off and feed them to the chickens just as a treat or something green, because they've eaten everything green in their runs in their coops. So sometimes we'll pull weeds and stuff in the yard. These are peanuts right here. But when we pull weeds and stuff in the yard and my wife cuts roses, she'll put the rose petals from the roses in their nesting box. And then all the weeds, we just throw them into their runs and they eat them up. They like green stuff. But yeah, here's her laser. I got my son-in-law to custom build a computer with extra RAM so we can accommodate the software that runs this laser instead of buying something off the shelf. And then we had the monitor and the keyboard and the mouse and stuff laying around, so we'll be able to create some art with that. This is some testing that I did, and I had the speed slowed way down. It actually burned right through the board like a laser cut piece of plywood. I know there's another one here somewhere. Oh, there. So that's another one that was done at normal specs. You can see the depth that it cuts at. It'll get down, or just do it lightly if you want, depending on what you're cutting on. So we got to learn a lot to be proficient with it, but there's some things that she wants to play with to do some laser cutting on. So yeah, some of the other stuff she does is melting glass in this kiln. So she's got a stock of glass. She can create art with glass. And Of course, doll houses for the grandkids. A lot of paint pours. Most of them are going to the show tomorrow night to sell. Wreaths, tons of cards, tons of painting. So a lot of these things that were in here are cleared out, ready to put in the show this weekend. And I've got a whole trailer full of stuff to take, and both the cars are filled up. We're still digging out to decorate stuff around the outside, because we're having a open house here next Saturday after tomorrow, and that's an invite, family tradition my mom used to do. I think I talked about that last week, but we'll have a whole bunch of people over for a eggnog and wassail shindig. Thanks for watching.